All right. So as we're talking about like what writing things are on our mind, I think we all agree that we have these very diverse characters in our stories that we're all kind of like thinking about right now. So off the top of your head, if you could explain to a new audience, like a new reader, your favorite character that's kind of on your mind right now, how would you do it in like a single sentence? I'll give you guys an example. Crow, an eccentric crow. Mr. Crow, an eccentric crow who has lost his sanity, spouts gibberish on his quest to find his younglings. I think that about sums him up for the most part.
Sebastian St. Clair is a Hollywood actor struggling with a sarcastic Capricorn. Okay. Hollywood actor in the 1970s struggling with addiction, toxic relationships, and the hallucinations of a teenage girl.
Ooh, okay. Very unique. I love it. So what about you?
Essos is an ancient spirit that is akin to a god, and while he understands the world changes, he's also refusing to admit there is a serious change.
I love the name Essos, by the way. Essos is a great name. What about you, Crazy?
We talk about a real person or a character we've created?
A character you've created.
Okay. Well, for now, I'll stick with Raziel. He is a bit of a dark, moody person who hides things up his sleeves without telling anybody what he's planning.
Ooh, all right. Dark, moody person who is very probably secretive and not a good human being. So we have 4 characters, absolutely, which I love. I mentioned Crow, Penelope, you mentioned Sebastian, Soul, you mentioned Essos, and then Crazy, you mentioned
Raziel.
Raziel. 4 very unique characters. Soul, yours was a god, right? Essos, you said was a god?
He's technically a spirit, but he's ancient. So he would be considered a god to humans.
Crazy. What character type is yours? He's a human, right?
No, he is a vampire.
Ooh. Oh, I kind of like this actually. So Penelope, yours is the only human one. So we got a human, a crow, a god, a spirit type god, and a vampire.
That's like leading
so if a crow, a human, a spirit, and a vampire walk into a bar, what happens?
There it is.
It's okay. If they all walked in a bar, my crow would probably just fly around spouting gibberish. He wouldn't be very helpful in all honesty. he'd probably try to like take like the beer from or the alcohol.
I was gonna say he and Sebastian can hang out because Sebastian just wants to corner somebody and unload his soul, and Crow can just be like, all right. And Sebastian's got that big paycheck, so we'll just keep feeding him beer as long as he sticks around and listens to
him. Sebastian would get Crow drunk.
Yeah, basically.
That's exactly what our crazy old crow needs. So what happens if Essos floats? I was like, walking might not be the right.
No, Essos walks. His physical form is more. I don't even know how to what creature I could describe him as. He's more or less designed from the great forest spirit from Princess Mononoke.
Oh, love it! Love it! Princess Mononoke.
Yay.
All right, who here love? Okay, this brings up a great question. Totally off topic. Who here loves Miyazaki? Any Miyazaki fans here?
Heard of it.
Is okay? I have to know. We'll come back to characters in a second. Favorite Miyazaki film?
Nausicaa. Just hands down, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind.
I've never seen Nausicaa. Is it a good one?
Oh my god, you need to.
What about the rest of you guys? Favorite Miyazaki films?
Princess Mononoke is the one I fell in love with.
I know that's mine too.
Same guy,
Princess
right?
Mononoke. Always.
It's Ghibli Studio, isn't that his studio?
Studio
Ghibli,
Ghibli.
yeah, Ghibli Studio.
Ghibli. That's it.
Mhm.
I've never spoken these words before, so I'm like, I think it's Princess Mononoke. That's the one that okay, so Dana Scully was one of the Gillian Anderson was one of the voice actors in it, which is why I watched it, because I was a huge X-File fan, and I was like, oh my god, this stuff exists.
I
So
just
like,
love
I mean,
the
that
art.
went right in my soul. So
Oh, looks like Megan has Castle in the Sky over here.
Oh,
Yep,
no.
Porco
Mm.
Rosso. Absolutely.
I have to admit,
Crazy.
I was not the
Crazy. Are you
biggest
familiar with
fan.
Miyazaki at all?
Nope.
Spirited Away?
No. Spirited Away. Everyone, you probably heard of Spirited Away at least.
Spirited Away
That's
is like the most popular.
That's like the most mainstream of his stuff. I feel like
Mhm.
mainstream is either Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke sometimes, but Spirited Away is always most
That's-
well known.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Neighbor Totoro, depending on the market. You hear Totoro sometimes. I mean, Spirited Away was fun. I enjoyed Spirited Away, but Mononoke just always hits me with that hero's journey and the fantastical dark creatures, which I love.
I
Howl's
love
movie-
the
I enjoyed
idea
Howl's
of
as
the
well.
spirits and gods, especially those Tokodamus. I actually have a set of those here at home that glow in the dark.
Ooh, that's so cool.
And for people who don't recognize what those are those little spirits where the heads kind of like bob all the time.
Ooh, that's actually really, really cool. I am like going to be on like a god and like spirit and god vibe now that I'm thinking about Miyazaki, because a lot of his themes are very mortal versus either mortal versus or mortal and a god or a spirit. A lot of his the themes, at least of the ones I've seen, I've probably only seen about maybe 5. I think maybe 5 of the Miyazaki ones in general. But they seem to have a similar one. It sounds like Megan sounds like a huge fan. Megan's probably seen about all of them. So Megan, you'd probably be more familiar. LeMay, human versus nature. That's a very, very great way to put it. That's the theme hitting right on the head. Awesome. So with that, what a great start to this. And let me welcome you to the Right Now Writers Group. Meeting number 16. Clearly, we're here with all of our friends to chat writing. So come join us where you meet every single Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, as we chat about miscellaneous writing stuff and whatever writing shenanigans fall into our head. I'm Kaufman, and I'm on a mission to help the writers of the world with their daily writing motivation. So come join us, because we're starting right now. All right, my friends. And thank you all. I want to welcome everyone in. Bobby, glad to have you in here, my friend. Feel like you come chill in the comments. And LeMay, Megan, and Tiara, Nil, thank you guys for joining us today. We always love having you guys cheering in the comments. So what are we going to do today? We're going to be starting off with our casual writers conversation. I think characters is kind of on our mind. Maybe, and clearly Miyazaki. Maybe we'll be doing some human versus nature stuff today. We're going to see. So thank you all for joining us. We'll see what writing we get into. We'll probably do 2. We'll do 2 writing sprints. So we'll start one of our first writing sprints in just a little bit. But definitely I'll drop the polls if you want to come join us in the conversation. All right, let me throw everyone back up. Here we go. If I can figure out the right one. Welcome. I was like, I love crazy. I just want like that image of like, I'm just going to like spoof people. And I just want that like image.
Will Doge.
Oh, man. So like, as we're, and what's up, Courtney? Glad to have you in here as well, my friend. Like, hey, got that email, by the way. Wonderful. Like, I got the gift cards out. So congratulations to all our fiction contest winners. Love it. Absolutely love it. So as we're thinking about characters today, I'm kind of curious. What is your guys' strategy with like creating characters? Are you guys like, I get an idea for something really cool and I want to just bring that idea to life? Or like, hey, I saw something in a movie or TV show, I can do that better. What does character creation look like for you guys? I'd love to hear your process. I know for me, I'm always challenged by the things that I see and then ask myself, how can I do a better version of that? Or how can I do my own retelling of that in my own authentic voice? That seems to be a lot for what resonates with me personally as a writer.
Well, I'd say mine.
Sorry.
That's okay. I think mine is just a mix of both. Of like, if I see something on TV, or I know that sounds like everything. He did this because he saw it on TV. He copied this. Why'd he do that? That's not right. But sometimes it's on TV. Sometimes it's on video games, like with the Legacy of Kain. And sometimes I'll just think of a different character, be like, you know what? I kind of like that. I really like that. You know, kind of like my newest recent character that I quite enjoy already.
Arazia?
No, this one is
newer one?
Damon. Yeah, the newest one is Damon.
That's super exciting. So it sounds like you pull from a lot of inspiration, which is
Yes.
really, really cool.
Yes.
What about you guys?
I think for myself, it's more of I get an idea for a character that I like, for a character I'd like to see somewhere. It's kind of like with writing fan fiction. Is I see something and I either want to do it better or I want to expand on them. My own original characters are not much different. Like the character I'm trying to design now, Essos, I knew that in Gods Don't Bleed that I was going to be working with spirits. And I knew I was going to be working with what's called an all spirit, which is just a spirit that's at least 1,000 years old or older. And I knew I had to design him based off that alone. And I just kind of slowly started building up pieces. And that's kind of how I do my other characters is I find a base.
Okay.
And then I slowly expand outwards according to whatever I'm writing.
Okay. So you get like a base character type, and then you keep developing new ideas on top of a pre-existing a character type that you like.
Pretty much. Occasionally, I do get an idea from seeing another character, like on TV or something or a movie. Like, I think my best one is A New Life, a One Piece fan fiction I wrote a while ago. That character, technically, the story itself was inspired by The Storm by Fat Rat. It's a song that I found on a Spotify. And the whole thing made me think of Avatar. So Arya was technically designed after the Na'vi, but not like because I was looking at them at the time, but because the song made me think of Na'vi. And it's like, oh wait, I can actually put this into a story, and I want to do a fan fiction, so I'm just gonna kind of put it all together. It worked out really well, so.
Well, I absolutely 100% love that. What about for you, Penelope?
A mix of inspirations, really. A lot of times, my characters I meet in the draft. I'll have an idea. Like Perry, for example, actually came from a remake of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. There's a gay classic. Perry was in it, and I really wanted to experiment, or I wanted to kind of explore the idea of a gay detective character. And it just really turned into his own thing, which I was really glad about. But every time I see him, I see Val Kilmer, who played the character. But my characters, like, for their development, like the inspiration comes from so many different places, but their development is always about like walking. I like to really work with contrasts. So like beauty and terror, or light and dark. A lot of my characters dance somewhere in the liminal space in between. So Sebastian, for example, I want to see how a character that has a specific personality, what happens when they're confronted with difficulties. Yeah, there's a really good piece of advice, and I can't remember. It was like in a newspaper, and it was like, okay, well, how do you write characters, or how do you write a plot, or something along those lines? And it was like, step 1. Get your character up in a tree. Step 2, throw rocks at him. Act 3, get him down safely. So like that's always like, how that
makes me think of our save the cat method.
Yeah,
so just get them stuck up in a tree.
Yeah, so I just, whenever I hear anything, I can get a character from anywhere. TV, like if I need a character to like put into a spot, I'll start to develop them, and it'll have somebody's voice and somebody else's appearance, and then I'll add my own Penelope Hartley sheen to that. But yeah, it's an amount. They're amalgamations of so many different experiences that
they really are. And I think our characters, I think the personality traits, the questions they deal with, the themes, the elements are a result, of course, our combined experience and like how we want to express that through these characters. And as a side note, I want to welcome, it looks like we got Bobby in the stream. Welcome, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Can you hear us, Bobby? Hey.
Hello, I'm here. My internet
Welcome,
is being
welcome.
you know what tonight.
Hey, by the way, we're literally talking about characters. Is there a character that you've written before that's one of your favorite characters to write? I'd love to hear it.
I'm sorry.
Are there
freezing
any
up on my end?
Totally all right. Are there any characters that you've written that you enjoy talking about?
I actually the 1,000 words in. I have actually backed that up because there was a character in it that I'm like, this sounds very much like me. And I'm not trying to be like, like myself, whatever, but and he kind of reminds me of me in a way. Just in his mannerisms and, stuff like that. But
I think
Hello?
I think we got most of that. My friend. It sounds like you cut in and out a little bit. But I think that brings up a really great point, right? When we write characters, especially when we write them our heroes, how often are they a direct reflection of ourselves? Do you guys feel that your like main heroes, your protagonists, tend to be like a reflection of your own journey sometimes? Or do you feel like it's not at all?
They can be kind of close to, they can go anywhere between like 50% of what I deal with to 90%. So
yeah, I feel like for me, it depends on the character. Like for different stories, I've had my protagonist as kind of like reflecting like a personal thing that I've dealt with in my past. But then for this story, I don't know. Maybe a fear, maybe exploring like a fear of the future, since I know I deal with a lot of memory in the current Scarecrow story. Yeah, especially if we're writing characters based off like what we know. It's actually kind of interesting when I think about interesting characters. I know here from the community, let's see, Megan was saying for her fanfic, Monkey fanfic, they think of their other characters from her OCs would interact with alongside the original cast. But her character, Camille, is a chameleon demoness who is one of May's besties. Ooh. A chameleon demoness. That actually sounds like a really fun character, by the way. Chameleon demoness. Courtney is like, I get the story and I know what my MCs need to have wrong with them, and I have to work out what's right with them. Penelope, that kind of speaks to what you were saying of you're like, you get your hero stuck in a tree. And then Courtney's like, just know what the problems are. Just throw garbage at them and figure out what they can handle. Some of them might be flaming piles of garbage, but Megan, you're like, Aizen being is an ancient dragon who resides in the center of the cosmos. Well, you have me at dragons. Does anybody have dragons in their story? You know that I will always be a fan of dragons.
No.
there might
I'll
be
be a reader.
dragonish creatures in mine. Maybe.
I'll be a reader.
I have epic space dragons, but it's just the two of them.
Space dragons.
Space
What the heck is an
dragons.
epic
Yes.
Space dragon.
They
We got
have
like
to
an ancient dragon here. This one kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, actually, Megan. Because there's like a dragon at the center of the universe, isn't there, in the DBZ universe? All right, so Penelope, you said yours is like a space cosmos dragon?
Yeah. When I can't even get into it. It's so complicated. Yes, there's 2 of them. They're the last of their species, and they have to come to Earth to do things. But yeah, that was actually a lot of fun because I really wanted to contrast them. So like I have one kind of intellectual, a bit snooty, and the other one like talks in like a dialect that's very simplified, but she's actually an amazing magician. So like they have to travel through space together, and it's just a lot of fun to watch their little relationship because they get to be somebody's parents. So
So they get to have a baby space dragon at one point in time?
Well, after the manifestation event in which all the aliens come to Earth as star seeds, yeah, but they do it in kind of, yeah, it's so complicated. Yeah, it's just cute space dragons. They run into Voyager, the little.
I love that. That sounds like a great thing.
Yeah, it was right.
I'm curious if anybody else has dragons in their story. If you're here in the community, definitely post. All right, like who has the coolest dragon character? I'm like, well, that's just me personally. I just love dragons. Do you guys have like a favorite like creature type? Because I guess like for me, a dragon's like technically like a mythological creature. Do you guys have like a favorite mythological type of creature in storytelling at all?
Unicorns and dragons are kind of tied for me.
You and your last unicorn.
But I think lately I kind of veer more towards werewolves.
Werewolves are fun. I wonder if have there been any stories, any like shows or TV shows where werewolves have been done very well in this past decade? Because I feel like it's always vampires. Vampires always get the highlight, and then werewolves are like a secondary story.
Yes. Werewolf stuff.
What was that?
We all have an example. Hemlock Grove.
Everybody does. Everyone shout out at the same time.
Hemlock Grove did werewolves, and it was the best werewolf transformation ever, and it was just really well done. And I think it was also based on a book. But
wait, what was it called?
Hemlock Grove.
You're right. Hemlock Grove was one of the first. I actually completely forgot about Hemlock Grove.
I know, right? But it was
Hemlock
so
Grove
amazing.
was launched as the starters in Netflix. Remember, before we relied on DVDs, when we used to rely on DVDs, for those who are old enough, I guess that was only 20 years ago. But I remember Hemlock Grove launched aside House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. But Hemlock Grove, I think, only lasted 2 seasons. I was like, I don't think Hemlock Grove lasted 3 seasons. I don't think it lasted very long. Like maybe.
It's too bad because it got badly done towards the end. So, like, the first season is totally worth it after that.
I think that's always the challenge, right? When we love a show and then it just goes downhill.
Yeah, it happens way too often.
And granted, Soul, I know with werewolves being your favorite, you probably have a piece of media of a very well done werewolf story.
Not on TV or movies so far. I don't really see a lot of that because most of it's horror that I find. And well, I can't stand horror. But my favorite werewolf series is the Shiver series by I think it's Maggie something. Shiver. I adore how she did werewolves because they're not these really big, nasty, disgusting brutes that are basically bears. No, these werewolves are actually people who got infected and they literally turn into wolves.
Werewolves, okay, werewolves, people who got infected. But I mean, that's usually, okay, wait, actually, werewolves is usually passed through a bite from another werewolf.
Well,
but it's never really explored where the werewolf started, right? I don't think, is that ever explored? Like, it has to start from somewhere. It can't just be someone biting someone forever. Kind of like the original vampire. Where the original vampires start from. Like Dracula, did Dracula just like, was he a bat first and he became a, like, I don't know.
I actually got to do that with Bad Dog Sit. I went back and like did some research about where the myth of werewolves come from. And it was surprising. It's funny because I did the Minotaur and the Labyrinth and Love Spell Murders. And this was a Love Spell Murder spinoff. And it was actually Greece, like ancient Greece. is where the werewolf myth comes from. Lycos.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, I like.
Werewolves from Greece. All right, going back to our Greek mythology. Why am I
Yep.
not surprised?
Yeah, I know. So that's like my
does anyone
5
know?
minute study on it.
Do any of you guys know where vampires then originated from? Because I don't think vampires were Greek mythology. Vampires had to have been another world mythology. Yo, if anybody here knows in the chat, where did vampires originate? Because clearly it sounds like werewolves were maybe Greek mythology. And this is just me curious. I'm like very curious now.
I think that from what I can tell of, the first vampire actually came from the first book of vampirism of Dracula. That's the only one I know of, is that was like the first one to talk about vampires or even include vampires. As for the first werewolf, the first known werewolf in mythology is King Lycan of Arcadia.
Interesting. King Lycan of Arcadia. Was there ever a crossover between King Lycan and Dracula?
I don't think so. I mean, that would be cool.
That's a story I want to see now.
Yes.
Oh man. And it looks like we have some great mythological creature love here in the chat. Megan's like fairies and dragons. I agree, my friend. Unicorns and owls. Okay. So I think you're going to be very happy about that. You're not the only unicorn lover here. Lynn, you're like ghosts, vampires, and demons.
There we go.
I love you mentioned the demon. I love the demon archetype. It's always hard though on like if I'm going to create a demon, what type of demon do I create? Because we have so many variations of demons. Where I feel like werewolves, there's less variations. Vampires, I feel like there's as many variations of demons as there can be of like zombies. There's a lot of zombie variations.
Seems like it.
But let me tell you, for anyone who watches zombies, I would never want to run into a 28 days later zombie. Never. Of all the zombies out there, no 28 days later zombies. Those are like a nightmare. I'm like fine if we deal with like the zombies from our hillbilly universe, from our flash fiction contest. I forgot. I keep saying Bill and Ted, but that was a funny story. So that was a fun zombie story. I'd rather much be dealing with slow moving zombies that barely do anything as compared to zombies with bloodlust that are literally just like can run and then grow smarter over time. Ugh, no, thank you. Courtney was saying, I mean, Twilight did werewolves. Twilight did do werewolves. Twilight.
Those weren't werewolves. Those were freaking shapeshifters.
Wait. I'm pretty sure they called them werewolves in that.
No, in the movies they called them werewolves. If you actually read the books, they are called shapeshifters. And just that the first time they shapeshifted, they happened to be werewolves.
It's been so long since I read it. You're right. I remember when the movies came out. I remember reading about that. They made the change in the film franchise to minimize confusion because they wanted it to be clear. They wanted to market it clearly. Vampires versus werewolves. It's not clear to market vampires versus shapeshifters. Oh, so any creature can. I remember that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I only remember that because I finished reading it like 2 weeks ago.
Megan's like, vampires get too much love and get so much romance. I mean, it's probably because less people are into the bestiality aspect of a werewolf relationship. But vampires, you're not getting bestiality. You're getting an eternal, like, pale figure that can suck your blood.
That's freaking awesome, man. Come on.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Werewolves are badass. But I think from a romance perspective, that you get that more like animal, like gruff nature versus eternal bloodsucker. It's like easier to sexualize the bloodsucker over the animal.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably why there's so much more romance. Hey, if somebody is able to write a very clever werewolf romance, you should probably do it. There's probably a market for this, in all honesty, and I think you could market it as a good werewolf romance. Penelope, do we have a werewolf romance in the corner over here?
We got a little over half of it. And I'm gonna have to put it down till next year. But yeah, Bad Dog Sit. The Jezebel Presents. It's I mean, they're all toxic relationships, but it's definitely the. And I just got to say, there's a lot of werewolf smoot out there right now, so there is definitely a market for the yeah. This one is not so much into that, but like I think that you're right. Like with vampires, you get more of the human sensuality, and with werewolves, you get more of the brutality and the you know. So there's definitely a market for it. I've never seen it like outside of like I haven't read too many of them either. So, but yeah, they have in the last maybe 3 or 4 years probably surpassed vampire erotica by a wide margin. I don't know when it happened. They started. I don't know. Maybe 10 years ago, I started seeing advertisements for them on Facebook. But yeah, werewolf doing things in the dark is. I haven't seen any like big romances though. I think there's a
it's saying that I know Megan was saying there's a handful of werewolf graphic novels. We see a lot of young adult vampire romance stuff. Netflix cancels a lot of good shows. R.I.P. Hemlock Grove. Yes. And well, as a side note, as somebody who understands screenwriting a little bit, Netflix cancels shows after 2 to 3 seasons because it's not profitable. It's more profitable to hire a fresh cast who they can pay for less, build up a cool following for the first 2 seasons, and then cancel it. Because then beyond seasons 3 or 4, they have to pay actors and crew more budgets, which is why only certain shows make it. There's a reason Stranger Things is one of like the few like Netflix tentpoles that is actually making it to an ending. I know. Hence, clearly we just need.
There were some really good shows they canceled.
I know. I agree. There's a lot of really bad shows they cancel. I'll admit that, but there are some good shows, and it's frustrating. Sometimes those shows go to other networks, but it doesn't always happen. Lynn was saying there's been a ton of good werewolf books if you don't mind reading smut. So that kind of goes on what you were saying, Penelope. It sounds like there's like a whole like smut category for werewolf stuff, which I guess that makes sense because it goes into the animal side of that. So I could see how there'd probably be that. Corny's like love shapeshifter books with all the smut. Shapeshifter smut. Well, that's actually you could go in any direction with that. You're like, all right, we're gonna go all the creatures today. Like, you want a vampire? No. You want a werewolf? No. You want something with other things? Like sounds like a good romance.
The Shadow Daddy.
The Shadow Daddy.
The Shadow Daddy. He's a usually a dark elf type character. He was in like a Court of Thorn and Roses. Has wings, usually bat wings. He's mean, but he's snarky and like, yeah, that's a really popular romance in romances. Fantasy romance right now is the archetype of the Shadow Daddy.
And so as you said, Shadow Daddy is evil vampire type.
He's an elf. Well, okay.
Wings.
I can,
you said,
yeah.
Oh no, you said an elf with wings.
Kind of yeah. So like, I think the idea of it comes from Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah Maas, who did her second book. Reese was like the OG Shadow Daddy, and he was like he was a fae, that was it. And he had bat wings, and it's the very dark manipulative. It's kind of a vampiric archetype, but like in fantasy and more fantasy type settings.
Yeah,
terribly written book. Oh my god, I know.
What was that?
Oh, Courtney. She didn't. I think. Are you talking about A Court of Thorn and Roses, Courtney? Because I read it, and I mean, like, I can see why it's popular. It's.
I know. Let's see. Let me catch up to the chat. I'm too behind. Let's see where are we at. I feel like there are this, yeah. So it sounds like everyone's pretty knowledgeable. I'm seeing a lot. There's just a lot of knowledge about monster beast romances, lots of romance werewolves. So werewolf is the 4th most common paranormal romance. Oh, so is vampire the first most, Lynn? I'm actually very curious. Granted, I'm not a romance reader, so that's why I'm just not familiar with the genre as well. But I know, obviously, and I know you guys, everyone here in the community is more romance than I am. I know fantasy. I know my fantasy genre very well.
I'm
But
with
granted,
you,
I don't know
Kaufman.
fantasy romance.
I don't read very many romance stuff anyway.
Mhm.
I'm with you on that.
But I'm not
So I wouldn't
surprised
know.
because two most popular genres, romance, fantasy. Those are the two most popular genres, at least right now at this current age and time,
Yeah.
based on bestsellers. Let's see. And WTC, yep, a lot of monster smut out there. Maybe so. Is everybody just like this year in the mood for just like monster smut? We're gonna go like werewolves. I'm assuming vampires is one, but maybe it's changelings now, because changelings you could have a vampire or a werewolf, and then you get best of both worlds.
Well, 'tis is the Halloween month after all.
You are right. We are, but I think it's been this entire year, not just the Halloween month. I mean,
True.
granted. Well, actually, thinking about Halloween. Tomorrow's literally Halloween. That's right. I forgot that.
Yes.
Tomorrow is literally Halloween. Oh man. Our
Yeah, I
we're
love
back.
it.
Scully is back.
I
Oh
love
man.
it.
Ooh, let me like dark fae folk. That's what an interesting character type. I would like that.
I wanted to. I really wanted to like it because I love fantasy and I wanted to check out some romance, but I just haven't found the one that really appeals to me yet. I'm really picky about romances though. Like I don't want like there's a lot of simplicity and a lot of like catering to a market with it, I think. And it's just like it's been difficult for me to I originally was like doing some research into it because I was doing romances and I was like, I want to write the romance I want to read, and I didn't find like a really good example of what I wanted to write. So I just started writing my own. But I'm open to suggestions if you've got any. Okay, here we go. I got a suggestion. Thank you,
That was
Courtney.
quick.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
Freaking fast delivery.
right in my bag. Right in there.
Ooh, it looks like you're getting some good recommendations here. Let's see. It sounds like Lynn, you said the first one bounced around on what's in fashion, to be honest. Not surprised for romance. Courtney's saying mask talk. What is mask talk? But granted,
Sarah
I'm only
J.
loosely
Maas.
familiar. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Sarah J.
M.A.
That makes
Sarah J.
sense.
Maas, a coder.
That makes sense.
Huge following for that specific, and a lot of what's come after that has been like, you know, trying to get into that. She's written a ton of books. Like she's got so much published. Yeah, and she's got a huge rabid following on TikTok.
That I do know. That I know that she's done well on building her TikTok following, which is kind of interesting. And I know something that's been on my mind is as authors, we obviously have to brand ourselves and use social media to put our stuff out there. Where do you guys think the strongest like platform is to build authorship followings of the platforms? And this is just something I'm curious about because I think there's an even mix beyond some of the more popular ones. I'm kind of curious, where do you guys see the most authors on?
I think it kind of depends on the genre, the author themselves.
You think that so you think different platforms cater more to specific genres?
Yeah, I see a lot on TikTok personally. But then again, next to Facebook, TikTok is probably the next most popular social media that I tend to go to, and that's actually pretty rare for me. But I've seen like TikTok has like a lot, but that seems to be mainly like live like book reviews, the book talks, things like that. Instagram, I see like that seems to be mainly for like graphic novels, people who make images of their characters, like fan arts kind of thing.
Where was that one?
So Ream seems to be getting popular again.
On what? What was that last part you said? On where?
Ream. It's kind of like God, I don't know how best to describe it.
It was Patreon meets Amazon. Yeah, because they do. Yeah, because the person who started it was on Amazon and she got kicked off for being too smutty. So she wanted to do something that had the form of Patreon, but was for readers. Because Patreon, apparently, the way they post isn't really good for people who are writers or writing serialized. So they wanted to kind of combine the two into, and it's got a ton of erotica on it right now. It's kind of like the OnlyFans of literature a little bit. And that's what's really popular on it too. But I think it's you said it's becoming popular. I like it a lot. That's where I post my stuff. And
wow, TC was saying Reem is a smoot fest. She got kicked off Amazon and then on Patreon.
Oh, and she got paid. Oh, really?
but granted, I haven't heard the greatest things about Patreon. I hear such mixed stuff with Patreon, and especially some of their mission and values. But when I think all of you guys have shared some great stuff. Lynn, you're saying like paid advertising on Facebook. 100%. Facebook will always have the strongest paid advertising because Facebook's been around the longest. They have a very clear structure. TikTok is organic. Courtney, like authors Facebook, Insta readers are on TikTok. I could totally agree with that. Twitter, yeah. Tiara was saying Twitter as well. Tiara was saying follow a lot of horror authors on Twitter. They generally have bigger platforms there. I don't know. Absolutely, Bobby. Facebook, completely agreed. It's interesting because it's always such a mix. Because I feel like I see, I think Facebook has the biggest, like Lynn said, paid advertising for authors. But for Facebook, you really have to structure into the Facebook groups is where the biggest success is for authors. Mm-hmm. Doing it through your profile isn't always as successful, but the groups do have a lot of growth. And then especially if you can bring people to a Facebook group, there's a lot of success. And it's crazy because I feel like I see the most authors on Instagram. I feel like I see a lot of authors on Instagram, but it's such a different platform than TikTok, of which TikTok is easier to engage with. That's interesting. I joined my few fellow authors on standing out uniquely on being on an author tuber here on YouTube, but I think it's because YouTube's one of the harder platforms to create a following behind. I would absolutely say that. I think TikTok's a little easier for creating a following. Yeah, I think of all the platforms, TikTok's probably the easiest to do it because of just the way that they deliver content. You don't have to worry about as much production. You can just create a video and it does well. But it's interesting. I'm not sure. Crazy. Are you familiar with Twitter? X.
I used to be on there.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah. I used to be on there a long time ago, and then I just kind of quit using it.
What's interesting is I've actually found a lot of success and engagement connecting over on Threads the past couple of months, which is very interesting. I don't think it'll ever get to any that point with what Elon's doing with X, but it's really interesting.
I heard that photography and book threads are two of the top 3 subjects.
Wait, which one? You said what was the first one?
Photography is one, and then books are 2 of the 3 most popular subjects on Threads. So I knew when I was over there. I left, but when I was over there, it was a huge kind of networking for writers.
Which is something that I actually really like. And I think for writers who are looking for networking, there's a strong writer vibe, definitely a strong writing community on Threads. Tiara, you're like, every time I go to type a response, I get like 500 customers in my line, and then I miss the question to answer. All right, Tiara, I will pose a question just for you, and you have until the end of the stream to answer. I'll give you just for you. And watch, Tiara probably has like 10 customers in line right now. I'm like, all right, Tiara, who is your favorite character? I want to hear what your favorite character is. You have to post it down in the comments. You have an hour and 15 minutes to answer. This is just for you, Tiara. Let's see. A lot of authors have dropped from Reem. Yeah, I just don't know anything about Reem. And it's probably also because I don't really read or write that type of content generally, so just less familiarity. Yeah, Penelope, I'm actually glad you brought that up because somebody mentioned Vela on yesterday's stream as well, that Amazon dropped Vela. And Vela, I mean, Beyond the Valley is right, the competition you participated in a few months back. Vela was essentially the short form there and learned and learned. But I mean, so Vela was essentially their short form episodic
Right, they're
platform, so to
serialized
speak.
fiction.
Yeah, serialized. Yep, serialized. And I'm surprised that it didn't work out, actually, because I thought, or maybe it was just the wrong structure, because it sounds like they tried to build it like a social media platform and build it around a following. And that's kind of what it felt like. And in the times that I checked out previously. But maybe, but what was that?
Oh, Vela, it's I mean, it's interesting. Like I would have thought that they would have had more customers since so many readers are already on Amazon. But I know WTC had mentioned that they changed how they were paying their authors, so a lot of authors bounced. I don't know if this was like early this year or last year. And then, like, for some reason, subscription for writers might not be like a thing that people are necessarily into. That was the thought I had about it, because it's I mean, people like books are different. Books are, you read the book, you go read the next one, you read the next one, but like having a serialized fiction, I don't know if that's why I'm on Ream, because I'm kind of hoping there's a future for it, and I didn't want to go on Vela anyway, which they died anyway. So but yeah, I don't know if maybe it's just something that readers aren't necessarily into, is subscribing to a writer. But again, you have a lot of people who've been successful on Patreon because people do subscribe. Artists, I've seen a lot of artists that are successful on Patreon for that reason. So I don't know. There's so many different strategies. There's so many different kinds of readers. There's so many different genres. It's so difficult, like being in a position where you're, as like many of us are, trying to market our writing and figuring out how to do what, where, but there's so many exciting possibilities if you can land on one. I think that you really like I like the idea of TikTok, because I've seen my videos reach so many more people organically from that than I have like with paid advertising on Facebook, but I really don't know how that works either. So that's probably my fault.
Yeah.
Hard.
I know, but I think this is what it comes down to ultimately. It's exactly what Lynn said. Vela just wasn't making the money. And I think at the end of the day, we always have to keep in mind that all of these social media platforms, regardless of what they are basically programs that are owned by private businesses, that at the end of the day, they have to, at least the bigger ones, have investors. So it's always about catering to investors for the bigger platforms anyways. And when something like that, like something like Vela doesn't work, a lot of times it's based on our ads actually making the money against our people coming to the ads. It's usually if it's an ad strategy. Now, I don't know what Vela's strategy was specifically, but a lot of times it comes down to money, which is really interesting. Hence, I know we haven't talked about this on a Wednesday writers group, the importance of establishing a newsletter. The importance of every author should establish a newsletter. Newsletters are so important, because a newsletter is one thing that you as an author can own. You do not own your Facebook profile. You do not own TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. We don't own any of these things, and we could be kicked off in any day for whatever reason. Realistically, that wouldn't happen, but it does happen to a lot of creators out there. They get kicked off for rules that they didn't know that they didn't follow, but you can't get kicked off your own newsletter. So I think that's something that's very interesting to keep in mind. Let's see. Do any of you guys, Crazy or Soul, have you guys leveraged the newsletters yet for your own author journey?
No.
Highly recommend.
I was actually just working on mine. You're
working on your newsletter. Are you launching something with your newsletter? Are you launching something with your newsletter, aren't you?
Oh, that's right.
So on that thought, Penelope, I'm going to so for those of you who don't know, let's hop into our writing sprint. But first, I wanted to do a quick shout out for newsletters, because I know Penelope is launching something cool. I was like, I'm going to get the right side of the screen one of these days. I'm like, all right, Penelope, this, and then Soul's down in that direction. Or maybe I will just always do this and then I will just like, hey, Soul. All right, this is Soul right now. Crazy. Now I'm talking to. No. This is very hard to do left-handed. Yeah. All right. Now I'm talking to Crazy. There's Crazy. There's Crazy. Well, I guess I can just always go down, and then I can just always like, hey. So Penelope. Yeah. No. All right. I'm being facetious, guys.
Soon will become a Rubik's Cube.
Right?
You like guess that creator.
We need a little theme song for that. Do like a little boop boop.
Oh my god. But okay, so
Yeah,
let's
that
do
was
we're gonna do a writing sprint. I'm gonna queue up the writing sprint stuff, but in the meantime, Penelope, you got something really cool today as it pertains to your newsletter.
I
So
did.
Do your thing.
I'm really excited about it. So I recently set up a website, and shout out to WTC for helping me figure out some aesthetic issues and also fixing my links. Yes,
WTC is an awesome creator, by the way. If you need a website, WTC is your guy.
Yeah, he really helped me figure out how to make it more manageable for my viewers. And so after I got that all done, and I was like, I 100% strongly believe in the power of a newsletter, because you can get kicked off of everywhere, but they can't take your spreadsheet with all your emails away from you. So I knew that was something that I wanted to start working on. And then I was like, it's an exchange, right? You sign up for my newsletter, you get a little something from me. And so I've decided, because I was okay, and then I don't even know how to do this. I'm so bad at this. I wrote a book. Jared edited it.
Best book ever.
It, and I got a copy of it in the mail today. So this is my book. And
anytime we get the physical copy of a book, like, that's exciting.
This is my first too. So it was very much like I had this moment where I was like, I don't know if you guys caught it in the Discord, but I was like banging my head against the wall for about 3 hours solid, trying to figure out how to get the book cover images. So I was really worried about how this was going to look. So I got the book and I opened it up, and I had that moment, and I don't know if this is, it was just like, all I could think of was like, this is like giving birth to a child and checking to see if it's ugly or not. Like, I was like, open up the book. Is it pretty? Oh, she pretty. She pretty. She beautiful.
Giving birth to a child and wondering if he's ugly.
Is pretty or not? She's going to be okay.
Isn't every baby supposed to be adorable in like the beginning stage?
That's what I yes.
Look adorable at that stage. Like,
just this moment where I was like, oh shit. You know, like, oh no, it's gonna be awful. So anyway, yeah. So that was my first unboxing of my books. It was nerve-wracking, but ultimately very satisfying. And do you want me to plug the newsletter? If you sign up for my newsletter, I'm doing because there's a ton of trigger warnings, but because I also want to get the story out there. I have done an abridged version of Dechira's Requiem. And if you sign up for my newsletter, I will be sending out the abridged PDFs and ebooks next week. So you can try it and see if you like it. And if you like it, I'm selling signed copies on my website. Thanks, WTC. Thank you, Jared, for editing it into the wonderful thing that it has become.
It is a really good story. Okay, so obviously I'm biased because I'm the editor, but from a pure storytelling perspective, if you guys have hopped on our critique shows before, Penelope has a very unique style with her word choice. So if you like a writing structure that is very poetic, and I can just speak to that, Penelope has a very poetic writing style, and it's definitely very moving.
It is a beautiful and terrifying book about a spiritual journey with an exploding T-Rex. Enjoy.
Because who doesn't love exploding T-Rexes?
I had
exploding T-Rex.
Yeah, I was.
Crazy's like, sign me up. Crazy exploding T-Rex.
I had. Well, my character was is an actor, and Sebastian is an actor in the 70s, and he moves into the 80s, and his career is like completely unraveling. So like I wanted to kind of make fun of like the over excessive 80s style movies. So he's in this movie called Razor Thunder, which is essentially written and directed by a 30-year-old with the mentality of like an excited 12-year-old kid. So there's fire, pyrotechnics, T-Rexes in a gang war, like women in like fur bikinis. Like I just threw everything I could into this script. Just so like dinosaur. My serious, dramatic Sebastian could be like, you want me to act in this? Yes, please.
In a steaming pile of garbage.
Who
doesn't want to act in it?
Throw the garbage at them. Yep, that's when I threw a T-Rex at my character.
Courtney's like, depends how they are exploding. I know Squirrel's over on Twitch, but I want that dinosaur.
That's perfect.
I want that T-Rex logo so badly. I'm going to go look on the Discord. No, I'm going to write on this writing sprint. I need to write.
Oh, we need to write.
So without further ado, now that I have it queued up, we're going to start off with a super short writing sprint. We'll try to see if we can get 2 in today. So 2 writing sprints, 20 minutes apiece. I'll let you guys rock out to our Nickelodeon 90s themed playlist, apparently.
Yes.
Or you can just mute us for 20 minutes and listen to the music in your heart. All right. So without further ado, we got 20 minutes on the clock and it's time to write now. All right, writing sprint done. Awesome. I know I got some great work in. Let's check in on our writers and see what we did. But first, before we get there, if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. We're here every day with the Right Now community, whether you need daily writing motivation, author interviews, guest speakers, writing sprints. I just need to come up with the list. I'm just going to create a logo at some point that has all 30 things that we do here. And regardless, if you need that daily writing motivation, tap that follow button, tap that subscribe button, and you'll be alerted when we go live. So do that right now. All right, so let's bring everybody up back into the stream. Welcome, welcome, everyone. How'd that sprint treat you?
Megan beat me.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
800 words.
I only got like 625.
I feel so behind you guys because I haven't been going for word counts. I'm like, I know. Okay. I spent half the time editing, and then I kind of rewrote this one section. Let's see, how much did I get? Let's see. I got 300. So I probably edited about 300 words and then wrote 300 words on average. So that's all right. I'm glad that I started getting into it. Yesterday, I was feeling so blocked. I don't know what it was. I was just hitting the point. I was feeling blocked in this chapter. And then today, I just read it, and I knew exactly what I wanted to write. I'm like, clearly. So I was in a good writing vibe today. Tiara's like, I'm writing in a notebook, so I don't know word count. Tiara, you can't just like feel the notebook and know the words. You're like 722 words and a period.
Dude,
hey, what's up, Emma? Welcome, my friend.
That would make you
welcome.
Yo.
We just finished up our first writing sprint. Oh, what was that, Crazy?
If you did that, that would make you Rain Man, man.
Writer man. Rain. But I would be a writer man. That's the ability that I'm going to try to figure out. Word sprint man. You just feel something and know how many words were put into it.
There's definitely a period. Definitely a period.
Oh man, how'd the sprint treat the rest of you guys?
I think half to most of chapter 1 done of Gods Don't Bleed.
Ooh, that's good.
Yay!
Ooh, that's good. So it sounds like you're making a little bit of progress, which is awesome. Man, that's awesome. Crazy Penelope, what about you guys? Any writing progress that time? Any good words?
I know I'm working on the newsletter, so I didn't get any crazy work. I'm cobbling it together at this point. I really need to finish an entire novel's outline by tomorrow so I can start on NaNoWriMo. So I should be doing that, but yeah.
It happens. I was like, you weren't alone. I think I saw earlier Lynn was like struggling. I was like, oh yeah. Lynn's like, I need to draft my newsletter to go out tomorrow too.
Yeah, it's like it's the end of the
newsletter.
month. Yeah, it's
Wednesday's newsletter day. I'm so guilty on my newsletter because I do the ads and the schedules on it, and then I like sometimes I put them to. I've done so much testing on it. I'm like, all right, do I do writing tips and stuff on the ads, or do I do just the writing tip or just promo? It's a learning experience.
Honestly, the only thing I could do was kind of go back for some of the chapters because the wording on some of the paragraphs didn't seem right to me, so I just basically had to put in a new sentence or take out some words and whatnot. That's pretty much all I did for mine.
That's good, but sounds like it's good that you got a little writing done at least.
Yeah.
You got a little progress.
A little bit always counts.
Yeah, I was like, I think because I was channeling the character, or maybe I was just channeling like the vibe of the moment. Like, I think that's why I got myself unstuck today. I think I was thinking about it too much yesterday. Has that ever happened to you guys where you're working on a scene or a character and you feel stuck? and then when you pull yourself away from it, you kind of just have to give it another perspective, and then you realize like, oh, I just need to look at it from a different perspective or a different angle.
I've done that. I've
Mhm.
tried to. One time I was writing a scene for Pirates Burning Ember, and I couldn't figure out what to do with Kasai.
Mhm.
So I actually thought of the scene of how would Brynnar see this.
Mhm.
I tried looking at it literally from his perspective, and I think it took me like 30 minutes to finish that then.
Oh man. So okay, so I was just looking at it from the other character's perspective is what kind of changed it for you. I was like, what usually gets you guys unstuck when you're like stuck in something like that? It sounds like Soul, you're like maybe you just need to adjust the character perspective. I think it was hard for me because I only have 2 characters in it. Like I think if I was like doing more or if I was writing like with different characters, but it's most I would like set 70% or 70%, 80% of the story is from Scarecrow's perspective. So it's like it's less like I can't really change a characters because I have a smaller cast in the first book. And I just have to think about like, well, what do I want to accomplish? But I mean, you guys will be very happy to know I played into Crow's corniness. So
Yeah.
so that is exactly what we did. I'm just going full Crow. He's gone full Crow.
The new Crow.
Oh man. Let's see. Courtney is like bounced ideas off here in this community. Help me. Aw. Yeah, I know, Amel. It sounds like you were asking about Kindle Vella. Clearly, it's a big thing in the writing community. But yeah, we chatted about it a little earlier. As you guys are thinking about like writing stuff over the next like week, what's your guys' goal for writing stuff? So maybe this is probably like a good thing to talk about. So like before we meet next week for our next like Wednesday writers group, is there like a goal that you guys are trying to accomplish? Like I know we're trying to do a lot of things, but what's like the number one priority? And I would love to hear from you if you're here in the stream as well. What's your one writing goal that you want to accomplish by our meeting number 17 next week? Like write words right now. That's my goal right now.
Right now. I need to get because I'm drafting the book that I need to finish up before I start the next book for NaNoWriMo. I really should probably finish drafting that the outline, doing the outline for it. I know what I want to do with it for most of it, but I just got to get it written down and sort it out so that I can pick up the thread. I also need to get Love Spell Murders to the editor at some point next month, so I should probably take a look at that too. I just scheduled myself for 3 writing sessions a day for about 6 hours of writing altogether, which I can do. My problem is always just getting into a routine with it. So, I mean, ideally, like the most important thing is to get into that schedule, 2-hour stints, 3 times a day, and keep that up because the things will get done if I can do that. So
you know what might help if you set yourself
sitting down and writing.
Actually sit down and write. I mean, putting the words in the computer might help. It might help. But I'm saying for one of them, if you do the sprint if you set the timer in the Discord and you set writing, if you write with others, you won't be able to not write if you commit to writing.
True. That's one of the things that I've noticed about having a community of people is like my accountability goes up if I want to do something like that. I can do it on my own sometimes, but like I always like end up like getting completely distracted by this awesome thing over here. And like, so if you're doing it consistently, for me, it's like if people become dependent on me, then I am that synergy and that dependence. I'm like much more likely to show up for that kind of thing. So I'm also like a very independent writer as well, so like I do most of my stuff in solitude anyway, so it'll be interesting to see if that will actually help, just showing up like at a certain time or something like that.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I'm seeing, and I've seen in the Discord, we have at least 1 to 2 writers using the writing sprint thing a day now. There's like at least 1 or 2 writers doing a writing sprint, but I never see more than 1 writer at a time. And I think it's because we all write based on our own schedules. I think that's very, very normal. Yeah, but I don't know. I wonder if people would like that. If anyone in the community would like that, setting up other like writing sprint times outside of the live streams.
I know I've been actually wanting to do that. I just haven't gotten a chance lately because I had like other
good.
crap I gotta do.
Mm-hmm. I think we also have to have like the time to be able to commit to it, though, like for sure. Because you don't want to commit to something and then not be able to follow through, and that I understand. It's like we're busy setting up for another holiday event this week or something.
Holidays.
I know for myself, I mean, obviously for people who have been watching the streams and know what's going on starting this weekend, most of my time is going to be towards that.
Yeah.
But until Friday night, I'm hoping to at least get maybe the first 2 chapters done of Gods Don't Bleed, or at the very least finish chapter 1 and then go through and edit it. Because I kind of do like a chapter at a time, and then I edit it heavily, and then I write the next one and I edit, and I just keep going like that. I'm already almost done with chapter 1, like right here. So I should be okay, but
that's good. But that's good that you're making like consistent progress. What about you, Crazy? Any writing goals for the week?
Well, given the fact that I'm already probably 4 chapters away from finishing this book, I would say I should be done by then.
Dude, that's amazing. That's awesome. That is so exciting.
Yes,
Dude,
yes, and
good luck.
Yeah, and this newest series, I still haven't come up with a title of this new series itself, but I'm getting there. But right now, I'm just gonna focus on one book at a time until I can think of it.
That's so awesome. I feel like we've all been there when you're in that like last 10%, last 15% of the novel, the story, and you're like, I just need to get there. I just need to finish it. It's like like if you're running a race and you can see like the end in sight.
I think I can. I think I can. Hey, look at that! I did it.
We got Thomas the Train over here.
All right.
Oh man, but I absolutely love that. And it sounds like we got some other great commitments as well. Courtney's like, I give up trying to plot. I'm a pantser. I'm gonna embrace that. Hey, there you go. Embrace the pantsing, but you will not be able to pants on 2nd, 3rd, or 4th drafts because you're gonna have to revise, right? Like it's literally impossible to pants on later drafts because then you have to go back and fix things.
Yep.
But that can definitely totally work for first drafts. Tiara was like, I want to finish my vampire novel outline. Act 2 is a hot mess. Maybe, Tiara, you just need to change your perspective, and the hot mess is it's an intentional hot mess. I mean, from what we've been talking about with vampire romance on the stream, I think that maybe a hot mess vampire romance Act 2 might actually be a good thing. We're like, maybe. Let's see. Courtney's like, I've been between projects. That's my reasoning. Yeah, and especially because Friday is NaNoWriMo. Oh man, guys. So like we have Halloween tomorrow, and we have NaNoWriMo on Friday. I'm curious as we're thinking about like these projects and these things we're doing for the next week. Are you guys trying to incorporate NaNoWriMo into your writing routine? Or are you guys using NaNoWriMo as as like an accountability? I'm kind of curious. So I know obviously you and me are focused on our adventure right now story, which, well, I'll promo that in just a second. But yeah, very, very, very cool. I know where we're at.
Didn't you say you had a soul that you were doing something else in addition to that?
Are you doing?
Yes, I'm actually going to be trying a side project alongside what we're doing.
Okay.
So I'm actually thinking about doing the Forgotten Unicorn or Gods Don't Bleed alongside this as like my own personal thing. I honestly don't think I'm going to have too much problem because I know the biggest thing will be...
If there's anyone I know that can do 100,000 words in 1 month.
I was just like, are you serious? You're going to write 2 notes? Oh, no, wait, it's Soul. Never mind.
No, wait, like, if anybody can do 100,000 words in a month, I fully believe and support.
Hey, I've done it before. I can do it again.
I know. I believe. That's so funny. So what's your record? I just want to know what your record is so we know what to beat.
6 weeks, 200,000 words.
Oh man. So maybe you should go for the world record. You could probably do it just like for 1 month, just like nonstop writing. I think the world record is what, only is it like 2 million words or 4 million or something like that?
I'm not sure I could do that much in a month.
You'll be
She'd have to stay locked in a room.
I do that anyway.
Right?
I mean,
We're writers.
24/7, not just certain times.
We're not supposed to be locked in a room.
Yeah,
what
I
is
gotta
the
make that
what is the
important
daily what is the daily word limit for, what did you say?
What was that?
I heard Soul say something. No. Okay. What is the daily word limit? Is it like 3,000 words? How many is it? I could look it up, but I'm feeling
Good question. I mean, that's essential. So I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, right? NaNoWriMo, the goal is 50,000 word manuscript in 1 month. You got 30 days to do 50,000 words. So if you split 50,000 words between what, 30 days, that is
30 days, half September.
no, that's
April,
about
May.
1,000. So precisely 1,666 words a day.
The bell when it's dirty.
Okay.
So that's essentially 1,666 words a day. And that's assuming you write every single day, at least do a sprint a day. And this is just assuming that you're getting a manuscript. Now, the thing with NaNoWriMo is it doesn't include editing. It doesn't include other drafts. The goal is just to write the original draft and see if you can get out a 50,000 word manuscript. But I think 1666 a day is pretty doable for most writers.
Yeah, I think I maxed out it. I do about 3,000 on average if I'm like trucking. I think I've done 5, but I never do that for very long because I'm so sick of this book at the end of the week. I hate it. I'm going to print it out just so I can set it on fire. So yeah, 1,600 is.
I'm going to print out just to set it on fire.
I know for myself, per day, I think I go about like 3,000 to 10,000 on a good day.
So we figured out that it's only 1666. So you'll be able to do it in like 20 days.
I have written this series over the course of one NaNoWriMo. It has 5 books.
And I'm pretty sure that NaNoWriMo lets you track it on their website, right? I'm pretty sure you.
The point.
Like, I forgot if NaNoWriMo has a word processor on there. I don't think they do. I think you just log on to your profile, and then you just track how many words and what your thing was for the day. I believe.
I just signed up for it.
Yeah, what we're gonna do for the Adventure Right Now event, I'm going to sign up for a profile, and I'll show it on screen when we do it this weekend, so people can kind of see. I guess would everyone in the community like some type of daily tracker thing for everyone to be able to share their NaNoWriMo progress?
We do that in the Discord.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I'll do something in that Discord. Because NaNoWriMo technically starts on Friday, which is day 1. So yeah, I think what I'll do, maybe I'll set up like a NaNoWriMo channel, and then maybe if people want to share their daily like NaNoWriMo progress. Because clearly we're all focused on NaNoWriMo in different shapes or forms. So yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll set it up. NaNoWriMo is on Friday, day after tomorrow. So hopefully if you picked a story or you haven't picked a story, you got 1 more day to do it. Hopefully the vampires and ghouls tomorrow of Halloween will convince you what story is going to be written.
Blee, blee, blee.
Blah, blah. Crazy, you going to do anything for NaNoWriMo?
Probably not. I got too much on my hands.
Yeah, that's always been my thing, especially during like the holiday season.
Yeah.
This is literally the first year ever where I'm able to focus on NaNoWriMo as part of my other stuff. But I think with where I'm at with Scarecrow, I'm just not in a place to pull away from Scarecrow. And I really want to get Scarecrow finished. But I feel good because we're doing the Adventure Right Now thing. So I feel pretty good that I can still do something and be involved. All right, perfecto. So with the 1:36 mark on the clock, let's do one more writing sprint. Let's do it, my friends. Let's get one more quick little sprint in. I believe in us. I believe in the power of writing. But by the way, for those of you who haven't checked it out already, you guys should, I highly, highly recommend. Here's this link. Let me pull up the thing. Nope, Discord maybe. Over in the WriteNow Discord, Soul actually posted a really cool character thing, which was super cool over in the adventure right now. Definitely recommend go vote. We have a lot of cool character types. We're going to throw up some more character types tomorrow for our adventure right now. I didn't even know that you could do like a emoji thing like this in Discord. That was so clever, but clearly that's a Discord thing. So you can bet I'm doing more of this because that was fun. You're muted, Soul. All right. This was very, very cool. So definitely go vote on one of these. We're going to be posting up the last poll for adventure right now tomorrow. So it'll be posted tomorrow. Make sure for anybody who wants to go check out adventure right now, go check it out. In a perfect world, I was prepared with the adventure right now link with all the details. Awesome. Here we go. So for adventure right now guidelines, there you go. There's the link if you want to go check out how to join us in adventure right now this weekend. Definitely recommend, but this is just a cool little link. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Fourth poll tomorrow. We are going to be writing a really cool story, by the way, guys. It's going to be supernatural, thriller, and it's going to be a surviving hero, or it's going to be an outcast or a fallen hero. Like I think that's what it was.
So it's either a survivor or fallen hero as the main category for the protagonist, with a subcategory of either lost or outcast.
Yes, what Soul said. All right, my friends. I wanted to do a quick little plug there. Let's see. I got 20 minutes on the clock, and it's time to write now. All right, and we are back. I could tell that you guys were totally rocking out to that to the music vibe over there. Excellent.
No.
You guys are clearly really enjoying our rock vibe. You know, mixing it up. We started off with Nickelodeon, and then we went to classic rock. I was trying to give everyone the full range today. I was definitely in that vibe with Scarecrow, where I was like one page from the last chapter. I'm like, I wanted to finish it. I always hit that problem like I wanted to finish it, but I'm good. I'm good. I finally decided to. This somehow seems appropriate that they are now going to go travel to find the Tin Wizard. I was like, I thought that would be clever Crow call out. So I feel pretty good about what I accomplished in my writing. How'd the sprint treat y'all?
I beat
Beyond the dance
Megan this
party.
time.
Dang it.
I got 763 and I started chapter 2.
Megan, 700 words over here. Woo.
That's okay.
Nice.
That's okay.
Nice.
She beat the one,
Soul.
so that's enough.
Winning that sprint this time.
I
Oh man.
found myself scrambling to find a Ream alternative. I think that you're gonna have. So that's what I did. I was doing research. I wasn't writing anything. I just looked like I was writing things.
You know,
But
I'm
it
just going
was-
to pretend to
Huge.
write. I'm just going to pretend that my keyboard's right here and then just do this the entire time.
Someday you're gonna it's gonna be my cat doing this.
I would like to see that.
I would too, actually. I think that'd be great. I'll be like, hold on, let me get on my phone out and you can play with my laptop. She would too. That totally be the song
man.
she'd sing.
We're just going to show up to the stream one day and it'll just be 4 cats on stream. It'll just be it'll be a stream of 4 paws. We'll call it
Right meow.
Right meow. It'll be the right meow edition.
Meow, meow.
So if you guys ever show up and there's 4 cats on stream, we've obviously all been turned into cats. That is the obvious
I need
answer.
to go back to my dog ways.
He's what is it? A dog trapped in a cat's body.
That would be my cat Crow.
Why? So isn't that a crow trapped in a cat's body?
No, he's literally like a puppy trapped in a cat's body. He acts like a dog.
I would like to have a cat that acts like a dog. That would be great.
Oh yeah, no,
I
it's
had to
great
do
until he
that.
flopped right in front of you on your feet, asking for belly rubs.
That'd be fine with me.
WTC is like, what?
Your
I don't believe
cat
this
does
stream is
belly rubs?
anti-dog.
Really
Crow
is,
demands
no.
them.
Obviously
Okay.
not. Soul's cat is a spiritual dog.
So his
we
cat is
like
really a dog. So if you
It's
see
really a
4
dog,
cats on the
so
stream
there.
and one of them is crow, it's clearly just call that one a dog. We do not discriminate against dogs on this stream.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's right.
All right. Wow. Well, clearly we got some great writing conversations, great
Cog or
writing
dat.
strengths. We got
Ooh,
some
Even
a
better.
cog or a dat.
What's
Gonna be
that?
two cogs and what's yeah, exactly. Beat me to it. 2 cogs and a dat.
Cat dog.
Was all right. Name dat cog. This is like a
Crow.
cat dog. Cat dog. I was like, I remember that. Oh man. Well, clearly we got some absolutely great writing conversations in on today's writing group. We got writers chat. We talked about all the things today between characters, ream, favorites, vampires, werewolves. Whether you want some vampire love, some werewolf love, or maybe whether you're just like, maybe you want to try ream, maybe you're just like Bella is not the vibe. Maybe you just try to beat some writing sprints over here and try to beat Chat Soul. Regardless of what we're doing, this was a great meeting. But
Hmm.
we're at the 2-hour mark, which brings us to the end of the stream. Thank you all for joining me today, my friends. Today was a great writers group.
I say it was mighty fine, boy, mighty fine.
Oh man, well guys, thank you all for joining me. And most importantly, don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. This is Kaufman. These are our friends, and I'll catch you on the morrow.